Welcome to the GCSE Maths Advantage. I'm Dr. James Carter, and every episode I'm going to break down one topic, show you where the marks are, and give you a quick win you can use in your next exam. Whether you're targeting a grade 7 or pushing for a 9, let's get into it.
Hook. Last year, one question on a higher tier paper lost more marks than any other. Students labelled the vertical asymptote as if it were a point on the curve. It sounds small, but that mistake cost a lot of candidates a whole mark or two. Today, I'll show you the simple routine that stops that exact error from happening again.
The Concept, Part 1. Transformations of a parabola. Start with y equals x plus 2 squared minus 1. Don't panic, read it as a sequence. The base function y equals x squared has its turning point at 0, 0. First, replace x with x plus 2. That shifts everything left by 2, so the turning point moves from 0, 0 to minus 2, 0. Then the minus 1 at the end moves the whole parabola down by 1, so the turning point becomes minus 2, minus 1. Say that aloud as you sketch, turning point at negative 2, negative 1. Examiners like clear labels.
If we change the coefficient in front, for example, y equals 3 in brackets x plus 2 squared minus 1, that 3 is a vertical stretch. The turning point stays at minus 2, minus 1, but the arms get steeper. If it were y equals minus in brackets x plus 2 squared minus 1, the negative sign reflects the graph in the x-axis, so the parabola opens down instead of up. Translate every algebraic change into a single labelled action on your sketch. Translate, stretch, reflect, then mark the key point.
The Concept, Part 2. Reciprocal functions and asymptotes. Look at y equals 1 over x minus 1 plus 2. The base reciprocal y equals 1 over x has two defining features, a vertical asymptote at x equals 0 and a horizontal asymptote at y equals 0, with the two branches in opposite quadrants. Replacing x by x minus 1 shifts everything right by 1, so the vertical asymptote moves from x equals 0 to x equals 1. Adding plus 2 moves the horizontal asymptote from y equals 0 to y equals 2. So for y equals 1 over x minus 1 plus 2, you must label vertical asymptote x equals 1 and horizontal asymptote y equals 2 clearly. Do not plot the asymptote as a point on the curve.
A useful mapping trick. Take 3 easy x values that avoid the asymptote and sketch the corresponding y values. For y equals 1 over x minus 1 plus 2, pick x equals 2 gives y equals 3, x equals 0 gives y equals 1, x equals 3 gives y equals 2.333. You now have the shape and position, and the asymptotes give the boundary behaviour. Saying the asymptotes first, then plotting 3 points, makes your sketch reliable every time.
Exam technique. What examiners actually want. For a typical sketch question, you'll see marks split into method, M, key points, M, and accuracy, A. For example, a 3-mark question might be M1 for stating asymptotes or transformations, M1 for plotting transformed key points or the turning point, and A1 for the final sketch being recognisably correct. That means even if your final curve is a little rough, clear working and labels win marks.
Write down the minimal working that earns those method marks. Name the asymptotes, show the algebraic shift of the turning point or intercepts, and list the 3 x to y pairs you used. For instance, write vertical asymptote x equals 1, horizontal asymptote y equals 2, points 2, 3, 0, 1, 3, 2.33 before you draw. Examiners love this one. It's clear, concise, and shows method even if the freehand sketch isn't perfect. Remember, the examiner wants to see your method.
Common wording traps. If the question asks for the equation of an asymptote, answer with the equation. Don't describe it as a point. If asked to sketch, showing intercepts and asymptotes, label both intercepts and asymptotes explicitly. If you ever see a question that asks for domain or range, state it using inequality notation, domain x not equal to 1 or x greater than -2, etc. Those short statements directly score marks.
The quick win, a 30-second checklist you can use under exam time pressure. 1. State vertical and horizontal asymptotes if it's a reciprocal or rational function. 2. Map 3 transformed points, or the turning point and 2 additional points. 3. Mark x and y intercepts if they exist. 4. State the domain and range or any excluded values. 5. Sketch the curve and label everything clearly. Do this every time and you immediately turn careless losses into method marks.
Demo of the checklist on y equals 1 over x minus 1 plus 2. Asymptotes. Vertical x equals 1, horizontal y equals 2. 3 points. X equals 2 through to y equals 3. X equals 0 through to y equals 1. X equals 3 through to y approximately 2.33. Intercepts. Y-intercept at 0, 1, write it down. Domain. X not equals 1. Now sketch with labelled asymptotes and those 3 points. Job done. That routine takes about 30 seconds and prevents the mistake where students accidentally draw the asymptote as part of the curve.
Recap and promise. In one sentence, identify asymptotes first, map 3 transformed points, and label domain and intercepts. Practice this checklist on 5 different reciprocal and transformed quadratic questions and you'll see immediate improvement. Download the worksheet in the show notes for step-by-step practice.
Worked example. Let's guide through a slightly trickier function. Y equals -2 over x plus 3 plus 1. First, vertical asymptote from x plus 3 equals 0, so x equals -3. Horizontal asymptote, y equals 1 from the plus 1. The negative sign reflects the reciprocal, so the usual top right branch becomes bottom right relative to the asymptotes, and the factor 2 is a vertical stretch making the branches steeper. Now map 3 points safely away from the asymptote. X equals -2 gives y equals -2 over 1 plus 1 equals -1. X equals -4 gives y equals -2 over -1 plus 1 equals 3. X equals -1 gives y equals -2 over 2 plus 1 equals 0. Plot -2, -1, -4, 3, -1, 0. Draw the asymptotes x equals -3 and y equals 1 and connect the branches in the correct quadrants. Write each step in the answer space so the examiner can award the M marks even if your freehand line is a bit wobbly.
Final quick note. When you practice, always say the labels aloud as you write them. Vertical asymptote x equals -3. Horizontal asymptote y equals 1. It helps fixation and stops careless slips under time pressure. Sound familiar? Let that sink in. Write it down. Don't just think it.
That's your quick win for today. If this helped, share it with a friend who's revising. You'll find more worked solutions and revision resources at jcacademyonline.co.uk. Until next time, trust the process and nail that exam. Stay curious.